Betrayal's echo. My brother's midnight call unveiled a secret that shattered everything. After years of silence, my estranged brother called. He said meet me at Mom's house at midnight. Don't bring anyone. When I got there he handed me a box and said, "This will change everything." It was a Thursday night when my phone buzzed on the counter and his name, Roy, blazed across the screen, igniting a dormant volcano of emotions within me. My brother Roy, after nearly 10 years of icy silence, had resurfaced. My heart hammered against my ribs as I stared at the display, the familiar bitterness bubbling up, a stark reminder of all the agonizing, hollow messages he'd left in his wake. His talent for disappearing without a trace after our last, brutal fight at Mom's funeral. I'd convinced myself I was done with him, severed the ties, but his sudden call, like a sinister siren song, aroused a morbid curiosity that clawed at my resolve. "Hello," I managed, my voice clipped and guarded. For a moment, an agonizing eternity, I could only hear his ragged breathing on the other end, a sound heavy with unspoken burdens. Then he spoke, his voice a low, gravelly whisper that sent shivers down my spine. "Danny, listen, I need you to meet me at Mom's old house. At midnight. Don't bring anyone." A reflexive instinct screamed to me to hang up right then and there, to slam the door shut on this festering wound from the past. "Meet you at Mom's, for what, Roy, and why at midnight? What twisted game are you playing now?" There was a long, pregnant pause, thick with unspoken anxieties. I need you to trust me, Danny. Please. This is important." The raw urgency in his voice, a quality I'd rarely, if ever, heard from him, resonated deep within me, stirring a long-buried empathy. Roy never sounded scared, never showed weakness. But then again, maybe this was just another one of his manipulative acts, a carefully crafted illusion designed to suck me back into his chaotic orbit. Old habits die hard, and his reckless actions had nearly destroyed me once before. "You disappeared for almost a decade, Roy, and now you want me to just drop everything and meet you in the middle of the night. What kind of fantasy are you living in?" "Danny," he said, his voice laced with a desperate plea. "I know what you're thinking, I do. But this is different, Danny. I'll explain it all when you get here." And then, without another word, he hung up, leaving me suspended in a vortex of doubt and apprehension. The entire night was spent wrestling with my conscience, searching for any plausible excuse to avoid this ominous rendezvous. Yet, despite my best efforts, I couldn't shake the feeling that something significant was brewing, something I couldn't ignore. Eventually, Celia, my wife, approached me, her brow furrowed with concern. "What's going on, Danny?" she asked, coming up behind me and gently placing a hand on my shoulder. "You've been pacing for hours. You're not the same person I know." "Roy," I said, the name sounding foreign and unreal even to my own ears. "He wants me to meet him at Mom's place tonight. Midnight. Says it's important." Disbelief etched itself onto her face. "Are you serious, Danny, after all this time?" I nodded, rubbing my temples wearily. He sounded scared. "Celia, I don't know. I don't want to get dragged back into his drama, but something feels different this time. I don't know how else to explain it." She studied my face for a long, silent moment, her eyes searching for answers in the lines of worrying etched there. "Just be careful, okay?" she said softly, her voice filled with a mixture of love and apprehension. "You know how he is." "Yeah," I muttered, already dreading whatever emotional minefield awaited me. At 11:30, I reluctantly climbed into my car, the engine's rumble a prelude to the anxieties swirling within me. The drive felt like a surreal dream, the deserted streets of Baltimore bathed in the eerie glow of streetlights, casting long, grotesque shadows on the cracked sidewalks. The house was just as I remembered it, a dilapidated monument to a past I desperately wanted to forget. Paint peeling from the walls, shutters hanging precariously, and an pervasive air of abandonment clinging to it like a suffocating shroud. Only this time, the desolation felt even more profound, more haunting, as if the very walls were whispering tales of sorrow and regret. I parked and walked slowly up the creaking steps, my heart pounding in my chest like a frantic drum. Roy was there, silhouetted against the darkness, sitting on the porch, smoking a cigarette, the ember glowing like a malevolent eye. "What's this all about, Roy?" I demanded, trying to project an air of confidence I didn't feel. I kept my voice low but firm, my fists clenched at my sides, ready to defend myself against whatever emotional ambush he had planned. "You dragged me out here in the middle of the night, expecting me to just go along with whatever you're pulling. I deserve answers, Roy." He glanced around nervously, as if afraid of being overheard by unseen entities. "Not out here," he mumbled, his voice barely audible. "I'll explain inside." The house was even darker and more oppressive inside, the air thick with the musty scent of decay and forgotten memories. Roy led me through the shadowy hallway to the living room, where he pulled an old, battered shoebox from behind Mom's dusty couch, a gesture that sent a jolt of unease through me. His hands were shaking visibly as he held it out to me. "What's in the box, Roy?" I asked, my voice tight with a growing sense of foreboding. Suddenly uneasy, is it? This is going to change everything, Danny. Everything you think you know about our life. His words hung in the air like a suffocating fog, amplifying the tension in the room. He slowly lifted the lid off the box, revealing its contents, and I leaned in, my curiosity warring with a primal instinct to flee. The box was filled with old photographs, faded and brittle with age, each one a potential Pandora's box of buried secrets. I picked up one of the photographs, my fingers trembling as I examined the unfamiliar faces staring back at me. "Who is this?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. Roy took a deep breath, like a condemned man preparing for the executioner's axe. "That, Danny," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "That's our real dad." "A real dad," he repeated, his voice barely above a whisper, as if afraid to utter the words aloud. "Mom. She kept it hidden from us. The guy we thought was our dad, the man who raised us, he wasn't even close." For a moment, I honestly thought he was joking, that this was just another one of his elaborate schemes to manipulate me. This was Roy, after all, the master of deception, the architect of chaos. But the raw pain in his eyes, a mixture of anger and hurt so profound it pierced my own defenses, convinced me that he was telling the truth, or at least, that he believed what he was saying. But why? Why would Mom lie about something so fundamental, so life-altering? "Why, Roy?" I asked, my voice shaking with a mixture of disbelief and mounting anger. "Because she was scared, Danny," he replied, his voice heavy with a lifetime of unspoken anxieties. "From what I found here, from what I've pieced together, she was trying to protect us by cutting him out of our lives. I don't think she ever truly escaped him, Danny. He was a looming shadow her entire life." I wanted to laugh, to dismiss this as some twisted fabrication, but a growing sense of dread was gripping me, paralyzing my ability to reason. As I sifted through the faded photographs and brittle documents, I felt like I was peeling back the layers of a carefully constructed facade, uncovering a truth so ugly it threatened to shatter my entire world. "Danny," Roy said, his voice a little softer now, recognizing my distress, "there's more. This is only the beginning." He handed me a flash drive, his fingers brushing mine in a rare moment of connection, and without another word, he led me to Mom's old computer in the study, a relic of a bygone era. The screen flickered to life as he plugged in the flash drive, the faint glow illuminating his drawn and anxious face. I hesitated, my hand hovering over the mouse, unsure if I was ready to confront whatever horrors awaited me on that digital abyss. A video file popped up on the screen, its title cryptic and unsettling. I clicked on it, and Mom's face filled the screen, her eyes wide with fear, her voice barely a whisper. "They can never know," she said, her voice trembling. "This has to stay between us. I'm doing what I have to do, for them, our sons. She had reasons to keep this from us, I know it now." Roy took a deep breath. "Why didn't she want us to know? There's no way to find out after all these years." The video cut off abruptly, leaving me with a hollow feeling in my chest, a sense of incompleteness that gnawed at my soul. "She kept this from us?" I asked, my voice barely audible, still struggling to process the enormity of what I had just witnessed. He said almost to himself that she was doing what she could. Roy said that now there was no going back. I wanted to shake him, to demand answers, to understand how he had unearthed all of this, and why he hadn't shared it with me sooner. But all I could manage to say was, "What are you planning to do, Roy?" "Now what is the plan? Find out the whole truth, Danny. We can't just leave it like this. We need to know who he was, and why Mom felt compelled to hide him from us. And I think she left clues, Danny. We just have to find them. I think she wanted us to know the truth." I hesitated, torn between my desire for answers and my fear of the unknown. But Roy was right. I needed to know, for Mom, for myself, for the sake of our shared history. So we made a pact, a silent vow to unearth the truth, no matter how painful or dangerous it might be. The next few days were a blur of frantic research and hushed conversations, as we pieced together fragments of Mom's past, uncovering a hidden life we never knew existed. And then, one day, Roy came bursting through the door, a wild look in his eyes, his hair disheveled, his clothes rumpled. "Danny," he said, barely able to contain himself, "I found something." He thrust a worn notebook into my hands, open to a page that looked like a crudely drawn map. "What is this, Roy?" I asked, my brow furrowed in confusion. "That's the layout of an old warehouse on the south side of Baltimore," he explained, his voice trembling with excitement. "Do you think she left something there? Maybe she was hiding something." "I think it's where she kept everything, Danny, proof of all the things she was running from. Maybe even a way to finally understand what we're dealing with," he exclaimed, his eyes gleaming with a mixture of hope and desperation. "Until Roy stumbled upon a hidden compartment under a floorboard here," he shouted, kneeling down near the floor in the other room. Together we pried it open, a creak sound echoing in the empty house, and found a metal box inside. Receipts, journals, and another flash drive. "Please, what did Mom keep from us? This must be criminal," he muttered, thumbed through the pages. Drug deals, money laundering. Mom was holding on to this. Roy's face twisted with a mix of anger and fear. She was trying to keep him at bay, keep him from us by keeping it locked away from prying eyes. Once plugged into the computer, we opened the file. Mom's confessions were heartbreaking. About the fear and the constant need to look over her shoulder. Never seen one desperate to protect us, to shield us from the in one video. Her voice was barely a whisper. I'm sorry for what will come. I know this will be hard to understand, but I did what I had to. If you're watching this, it means I'm not around to explain it myself. And she looked down as if gathering her courage. This could be the thing that changes our lives completely. He's coming. The danger is coming. I tried to keep you safe, but it might not be enough. This man, our real father, had been a threat all along. And now he was close. The idea that he might be looking for us now made my blood run cold. Roy finally spoke. Dan, we need to finish this. There's no going back. Marcus Molly, our so-called father. He was real, dangerous. She wouldn't hesitate to come after us, or so the videos tell. I couldn't sleep that night. Every sound made me jump. Every shadow outside the window looked like it was watching. My mind raced with possibilities, each more terrifying than the last. I kept thinking of Celia, about the life we had built together. She deserved to know, but at the same time, if she knew, I'd be putting her at risk too. The next day we called a private investigator, who had a reputation for dealing with the kind of people you don't find in daylight. Julius was a man who knew how to stay under the radar. You're telling me you've got blackmail material on Marcus Valley? Julius whistled low. You boys don't know what you're playing with. If he finds out you're poking around, he'll show up at your door before you can blink. We're not looking to provoke him, I said quickly. We want to make sure he can't hurt or anyone else. Julius said, rubbing the back of his neck. Look, you've got enough here to ruin him. These records play time to every illegal operation he's been involved with for decades, but you'll need protection if you want to do this. And even that, I think long and hard about whether you want to press the button on this bomb. Roy and I looked at each other. There was no going back. And he arranged a meeting with the authorities who could handle something of this magnitude. The following days were nerve-wracking. I barely ate or slept. Roy and I kept to ourselves, what's hiding in the house, as we waited for the police to make their move. Each time the phone rang, I expected to hear bad news, the worst. And then 3 days after the handover in a sweeping operation that revealed his connections to organized crime, money laundering, and drug trafficking. The headlines were sensational, painting him as one of the most dangerous men in Baltimore's underworld. I couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't over. That night I got a call from Julius. Danny, Roy, listen carefully, he said, his voice taut. He has connections that run deep. You're not safe until this all blows over. Let them come. We've got more dirt if they need to know what kind of man he really is. That's not how it works, Roy. These people don't care about proof or dirt, they just care that you stir the pot. Lay low, stay out of sight. The reality of the situation hit me then. We couldn't just return to our lives as if nothing had happened. Roy and I had opened Pandora's box, and now we had to deal with the consequences. For the next few weeks, looking over our shoulders, Celia grew more and more frustrated with my evasiveness. Yes, but I couldn't bear to tell her the truth, not yet. Not what was happening to Roy. One night while I was in bed staring at the ceiling, I thought finding out the truth would bring closure, but it felt like a door had opened to an entirely new set of nightmares. I knew I needed to let Celia in. Finally, it was Roy who snapped first. He called me up one night, voice shaking, and asked if I could meet him at Mom's house. Danny, I can't do this anymore. This isn't living. It's just, I swallow. Roy, no, he interrupted, slamming his fist on the table. You don't get it, this doesn't go away. We set this in motion and now, we've got to do something, make them leave us alone. For a moment I thought he was serious, but the look in his eyes terrified me. What are you thinking? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. Roy took a deep breath, his hand shaking. We disappear, Willie, Baltimore. Start over somewhere new, somewhere they can't find us. It's the only way. I opened my mouth to argue because maybe he was right. The thought of leaving behind everything I built, my job, my friends, but maybe that was the only choice we have left. What Mom was asking. I went home and told Celia everything. She sat there, her hand is gripping mine tightly. Danny, why didn't you tell me sooner? I wanted to protect you, I said, my voice breaking, but I can't keep doing this, not without you. Celia's face softened. Then let's do it, whatever it takes, I'm with you. So Roy and I put our plans in motion. We sold what we could, stashed away as much cash as possible, and one night we didn't tell anyone where we were going. We left everything behind. All the past deeds we committed. In the end we started over somewhere quiet, somewhere no one knew. Celia stayed by my side, but sometimes late at night I think about the life we left behind. Because the past has a way of catching up with you no matter how far you run in the new town. Life took on a quieter, almost surreal quality. The dark corners of Baltimore, we all did, in fact. For a while things seemed to. I got a job at a small mechanic shop. Celia worked part-time at a local bookstore, freelance carpentry. In those first few months we moved like shadows through our new lives. They'll find, but we never said it aloud. It was easier to pretend that we left everything back in Baltimore. We just existed always with one eye on the road, just in case. Danny, he whispered, his voice low and frantic. I think someone's been watching me. What are you talking about? Everywhere I go there's this car. It's been following me for days. When I go to the hardware store it's there. When I'm at the job site it's parked across the street. Roy, take a breath. Are you sure it's the same car? You know how it is. Danny, I know what I'm seeing. It's the same damn car. His voice dropped to a whisper. I think it's one of Molly's guys. I glanced at Celia, who was reading on the couch, blissfully unaware of the conversation I was having just steps away. Okay, listen, lay low for a couple of days, don't go to work, stay home. Let's see if he's still there after a while. But if this guy keeps it up, I don't know, Danny. I'm not running anymore. We hung up. I hadn't told Celia about the call yet, hoping it would blow over for 3 days later. He's still there, Danny, he hissed into the phone. He's not even trying to hide it anymore. I see him sitting outside my apartment just watching. That night I drove over to Roy's place and shaven his eyes halo from sleepless nights. Was the black sedan parked across the street, its driver's window rolled down. What's our move, Roy? Maybe we should talk to him, I suggested. No, I wasn't even sure what I hoped to accomplish. If he's just watching, Roy gave me a look. You think someone from Molly's crew is here for a friendly chat? I swallowed, shaking my head. No, but we need to know what he wants. The man in the driver's seat was middle-aged, grizzled, and unremarkable, exactly the kind of guy you'd pass by without a second thought. He looked at us through the window with an expression that was almost, can we help you? I said, my voice as steady as I could manage. The man smiled. You know, I've been watching for a while now. Roy's fist clenched at his side. Who are you? The man chuckled. You don't know me, but I know plenty about you. He paused. Molly sends his regards. I felt my blood run cold. The man made his appearance after years of Roy thinking he was safe. Molly's Richard extend. Roy, relax, I'm just here to keep an eye on you, make sure you stay. We're not planning anything, I snapped. We left it all behind. Good, Nolan said, his tone suddenly sharp. You do well to remember that. Because if you so much as breathe in the wrong direction, if you even think about making any more waves, you won't be hearing from me again. Understand? Roy was shaking with rage, his fists clenched so tightly I thought he might hit Nolan right there. But he held back. Nolan gave us one last smirk, then started the car. Enjoy your little slice of paradise, boys. And keep your heads down, and with he drove off, leaving us standing in the dark. After that night, the thought of Nolan or someone like him always watching, he stopped working altogether, holed up in his apartment. I tried to get him to talk to someone, but he refused, telling me I didn't understand. Danny, they're everywhere, he said one night, his voice little more than a whisper. Walmart will always be marked. I wanted to argue. Molly's reach was long. The truth was we were just as trapped as we'd ever been, and so was our freedom. But I couldn't let it consume me the way it was consuming Roy. I had Celia. I had a life I wanted to protect, and then one morning he's been quiet for days, the landlord said, giving me a worried look. Haven't seen him around, figured he was keeping to himself. We forced the door open. The apartment was in shambles, wet paper scattered everywhere, notebooks torn open, and on the floor a pile of shredded documents, the remnants of the past he tried to unravel. But Roy was gone, but there was no sign of him, not even from Nolan. I filed a missing persons report. Roy had disappeared just like he always did, leaving me behind to pick up the pieces, but this time it felt final. Months went by with no word, handwriting. If you're reading this, it means I'm gone for good. I tried to live with it, to keep my head down like you always said, but they're never going to let us go. I've made sure I'll never leave them to you and Celia. I hope you can live the life I couldn't. Maybe you were right, maybe I could have found peace if I tried harder. Tell Celia I'm sorry. Live for both of us. It was the last I ever heard from him in the years that follow. I kept that letter, tucked away in a drawer, a reminder of what we lost and of the life I promised Roy I lived, but somehow I found a way to move forward. Celia and I rebuilt our lives, and slowly the shadows fade, and so I lived on. Some nights I still felt a flicker of unease lurking in the corner of my mind. Did I make the right decisions? Could I have done more to help Roy, or were we both doomed from the start? Looking back, was there any way to escape the legacy of our real father, or were we always destined to be victims of a past we never understood? It's a question that haunts me still. So, Reddit, after hearing everything, do you think I handled this situation the best I could? Was there anything I could have done differently to save Roy, or was he determined to self-destruct? Your honest opinions and insights would mean a lot to me, as I still grapple with the weight of these decisions and the lingering guilt that comes with them.